All right, y'all. Your boy is back. Your boy is back. As I was saying, we're going to jump right in. Again, just updated the Diakonia Report in combination with the new gnosis or knowledge from the Illuminator, the new series that we're starting today. Tonight we'll start part one. That's the Big Daddy series, where we're going prior to the Gnostic age and getting into what existed before existence. So what existed before existence? What existed before Genesis? What existed before the God of Genesis? So when it says in the beginning, the word beginning means age. So before this age, before the earth, before Adam, before Eve, before Samael, before Yabato, before Barbello, before Leviathan, before Belfalgar, before the fallen, when everything was in this harmonious arrangement, when Adam and Eve walked in the cool of the day with source code, they had no material body. From the perspective of the five senses, that removes you from the illumination of the Illuminator. So that's the premise of the new Diakonia Report. When you understand the premise, because without the premise of understanding quantum biology, then the Illuminator that gave the new illumination. So the new report is based upon the Illuminator who has given or expressed the numerological or the numerical alchemy of the 144-word matrix. That is the new genetic signature. This is your new amplified trigger that activates. It is a deeper overstanding of the new series. It starts tonight at 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, which is the background for the new and improved Diakonia Report. So I've removed a lot of the fluff and just added in all of my proprietary information. It's a more streamlined version of the old report. The report taps into and gives you your illumination number, along with the report that you already have, which is the life optimization circle, because that's proprietary. Name, niche, narrative, paper of love. But then we add in the DNA sequencing. We add in the 144-word genetic signature code. We also include the 144-word matrix, which is a cognitive pattern that amplifies, triggers, and returns. In other words, this is aligning with your new identity that's in source code. This is trigger-based visualization. This totally removes all of the stuff that everybody else is doing. This is what's happening in the new age of 2025, which is the year or the age or the eon of what the dominant culture calls the Golden Age, or the Kali Yuga. If you remember back when I did the series on the Kali Yuga, which simply means that every 25,950 years, depending on who you talk to, everything is cyclical. So with this new cyclical age, the new Diakonia Report, the new higher level gnosis that allows you to use the 33 hidden codes that we just finished. That's the manipulator. So now we know the game of the manipulator, because we went through the primary codes of manipulation, of manipulating the brain. The brain does not think. The brain receives thought. The brain hears. When you have a thought, you are hearing. You don't think. You pick up a frequency. You're just picking up the wrong one. That ain't your fault. You don't have, I don't have. We did not really activate. Now you got to go all the way back to the secret magic of understanding the secret teachings that was given to us from this book called the Book of Martyrs. We're martyrs. They gave us Flavinus Josephus, the tree of life, the body. So we operate on the language of crystals, the RL pattern, the right, left, or the RGB, red, green, blue. All superheroes, according to Marvel, which is where I got most of this gnosis from, a comic book. Marvel Comics came out with the Illuminator way back in the day. Because Marvel got their stuff from the Gospel of Thomas. That tells us when you start seeking, don't stop seeking until you find. And it says when you find, you're going to be greatly disturbed. When after you're greatly disturbed, you will marvel. Marvel Comics. Marvel, marvelous, comics, cosmos. The marvelous cosmos. You got to tap into the marvelous cosmos. Or comic. This gets you out of political correctness of Operation Hijack, which was the third realm. We called it the Third Reich. They took the swastika, it's a symbol of peace. Still is. And they used it as a crown to establish their throne. This is the throne of our thinking. The seat of the soul. Chronos, time. Corona radiata. Chronological. All of this is based upon the 45th president who controls the 45th parallel. And you are in a 45th degree. 4 plus 5 is what? Come on, preacher. Now, I don't want me to start preaching today. Now, remember, this is beyond the pale of the average keep-it-on's brain to process. So this is not going to be a huge, it could be, you never know. Maybe people going to wake up. But on average, most of us are so busy. It's not that we don't have the ability to tap into, but most of us are still a part of the AM PM, Adam and Eve. AM is morning, PM is evening. So they keep you trapped in a fallen consciousness by the fallen angels using Langu age or a dialect of Ekos, which is the word force in reverse. If you remember, Ekos was a book that Kobe Bryant wrote before he transitioned because he decided to teach dark magic to his little Sheerans. And if you remember how he transitioned with his daughter in a helicopter, even if you look at the word, remember, that teacher, that guy, Tolle, whatever his name is, I forgot his, Eckhart Tolle or whatever. Tolle. Turn around, you get the word. Drop the E, you get the word troll. So what we're talking about is escaping the lower vibration of the fallen consciousness that keeps us trapped in the crown radiata, which is the throne of our thinking, because we don't think we receive signals. When you're thinking, what you're doing is you're talking to yourself, but the question is, you are not talking. You are listening. You're the listener. So when you start listening to what you're thinking, if I start thinking, I'm going to hear a voice in my head. Whose voice is that in my head? So you got to tap into, how do I replace the voice? Well, you replace that voice with your divine birthright. You have frequency rights. And so we got to get out of Vaticanus. We got to get out of this draconian soul matrix that keep you trapped inside of this low vibrational thought process. You are a high vibrational individual expression of source code on earth. You are christened. You are Christ. I can do all things. I have been crucified. I've been glorified. I've been justified. I've been sanctified. So this is a higher level. The new report is a higher level to get us out of the murder by numbers. Letters, numbers, and words is how they use to keep you trapped. They suck the life out of you, and then they allow you to transition. So your job is to work while it is day. So everything starts off with this new overstanding of taking the 33 holds that we mentioned in the last class and use that to bootstrap your way up and activate by tapping into the Illuminator. So when we start part one, I remember it's still They got the, payment plan and the 40%, the 50% off at the $4.99 instead of the $1,000. And I know, like, everything is about understanding that you got to occupy your mind with your God-given design. This is all about over understanding and surpassing repetition with simplicity of authenticity. So when you tap into the simplicity of authenticity, you get out of being artificial. So artificial technology won't work on you any longer because you are removing the imposter syndrome. That imposter, that ego. Because the ego keeps telling you, and you keep listening because it's in your head. They pump it into your head through Saturnalia. So there is even your dream and your desires and everything that we have is all based upon ego. Why? We want to be seen. We want to be heard. We all do that. The goal is just to be aware of it. You don't have to try to get rid of it. You just acknowledge, I'm a 6 ether being. It used to be a 3 ether being. Now the 9 ether beings are being elevated in consciousness. Before, remember, Tesla said, if you know this, if you know the secrets to 369, if you know the secrets to 369, you will be able to rule and reign over all creation. Because the average alchemy does have the 144 powers activated using cognitive pattern that amplifies, triggers, and activates. So there's no more manifestation techniques and Wim Hof breathing and all of this stuff. And you can do it, but it should be an automatic. Because what you're doing now, you are in a state where you are able to build your own self-sustaining system that uses fractals to create infinite growth automatically. Because when you over understand that a 6 is nothing but an upside down 9. Now you are on a whole new level because numbers are nothing but light codes. The 144 numbers are the 72 names of God and the 72 names of the demons. It creates what is called the trident. If you watch Aquaman, he had that stick in his head. He ruled the underworld, the sea. So the body is made up of living water, Jeremiah. The fountain of living water. Out of your belly flows what? Living water. You have to master the waters. Because that's outer space. The trident. Zeus, Satan, Satan. So the Titans, the 33rd parallel of energy. Because what are they doing? They are draining the swamp. Remember, that's what Trump said. He's going to drain the swamp. Draining the swamp means I'm going to drain the energy of the 9. This is an energy extraction using distraction. The average Negro is fucking distracted. That is false. Fallen. They are harvesting the energy patterns of the world. Whoever they are, though, we don't know who they are. Whoever they are. Your job and my job is to tap into the frequencies, the waves, the verbs, and the vibration of over, and understanding that the purpose is to drain the energy of the swamp. So like in heaven, when 2/3, remember Lucifer saw him fall in his light and 2/3 of the heaven fell down with him? The same thing. So we want to elevate. But we got to evaluate in order to elevate. This is the new neuroscience of self-discovery by tapping into what God's source code gave you. Now, your brain gives you access to a higher frequency code that gives you a new vocabulary. This allows you to tap into plasma photonic light. You're a plasmonic photonic light beam. As a plasmonic photonic light being, you now are an energy generating device. We are direct energy weapons, contrary to popular belief, but it's tapped into the ability for you to engineer your vocabulary, your engine, your energy, your inner chi is based upon your identity. If you do not see yourself as an individual expression of source code on earth, there will be no acceleration. So what existed before Genesis? What existed before the creation? What existed before Yabato, Sabato, Sabayo, the blind God, and all of the other frequencies, waves, birds, and vibrations? The Illuminator. So this series, the Illuminator, ties into the new Diakonia Report, which taps into and activates what I call your biological light particles. This is biophotonics. That's what the science, that's what they call it. It's nothing but communication. So comprehension is based upon your ability to communicate with the light particles and activate them inside of the body. Because the RGB code is red, green, and blue. Because those, again, are the colors that activate the attributes that's hidden inside of Proverbs 6:6. This is the only way to affect the brain. That's why, according to Marvel Comics, all the major superheroes, look at their uniforms. Go to Marvel Comics and check it out. They're all red, they're either green, or they're either blue. Because you can get all those colors, you get black. This is the physics of color. This is color alchemy. This is the esoteric meaning of RGB. The hidden codes of social norms that we just talked about, because that's the 33 that uses CRCBT and MBSR and MBCT and EHR and cognitive anchoring and cognitive authority and cognitive dissonance and cognitive consistency and social manipulation and what else? Emotional manipulation, spiritual magnification, problem amplification, cognitive framing, predictive programming, the hidden knowledge effect, the high status control, identity leaking, the dark triad. Remember the dark triad? Those three, man. What about the pathology of normalcy? What about emotional distance? What about the path of the least resistance based upon the expectation that you have? They are unrealistic. You expect somebody to come save you, boo-boo? So we got an expectation, but it's unrealistic. So now we got to totally reprogram ourselves by simply opting out of the low vibrational system, by elevating our consciousness. So remember to start the culture. You must develop a new culture of success. You must see yourself. You must be in the energy right now, or your desire fulfills fate. What is the energy of it? Do you feel? Can you feel the feeling before you arrive? Or have the fallen angels trap you in a fallen angle? These fallen lines, fallen angles, the fallen light, these are points of light. These are low-hanging fruit. So you work there, you may be married there, you may eat there, because if you activate the Enochian code, it produces nitric oxide. The same thing that happens during deep nostril breathing. Because the Enochian code and the Melchizedek code, this is the physics of the air. This is the physics of the air. That's you, boo-boo. We are heirs of Christ, but it's not A-I-R. It's H-E-I-R. The physics of you. This is a circle inside of a circle inside of a circle inside. The life optimization. So the 12 numbers have 12 numbers. 12 times 12 equals 144. 144,000 according to the book of Revelations. But the book of Revelations is the unveiling of the nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, carbon beings. This is the new 12 ether oxidation beings. This is the prince of the power of the air. It's you. You are the prince of the power of the air. It's the 5 ether beings, 5 elements. Represent the 5 mental states of thought or source code. But they got you believing that the air is the air. No, boo-boo, you're the air. You're not only the air, but you're also the air of the air. You are the H-E-I-R of God. Do you not know that ye are gods? That's what it says in your Bible. But your melanin is not activated. You are a dark ether being. You are a 9 ether being. They got all of us confused into believing that we don't have no spiritual superpower. You can't go hit one. You are one. You can't use technology. You are technology. Once you understand that you are the technology, all they did was reverse engineer the electrochemical magnetic power of resonance. That is you. Your male chi Z deck is based upon a doctrine deck that activates the chi Z, or the electricity and the magnetism that controls the male or the melanin. So male chi Z deck is deck chi Z male of a 9 ether, which is the 5 elements. That's the number or letter or sigil word theomathematic power. You can have whatever you can authentically, intentionally maintain. But I want to make sure that you never, ever authentically, intentionally connect with your true individual source code. Because then you activate your superpowers. So what I got to do? Well, I got to get you to be, number 1, overwhelmed. That don't work. Number 2, anxiety. And if that don't work, boredom. You got all 3 or one of those right now. You're either very overwhelmed and you're like, Doc, I don't know, bro. I'm stressed out, brother. Or you got a lot of anxiety, man. More bills than money. Or you bored. You're sitting around it. You're scrolling. Watching TikTok videos all day. Why? No purpose. So the new process is a neurological medium of exchange using the VGCC, which is the voltage gated calcium channels of the sodium potassium pumps inside of the neural nephrons in your kidneys. That's why everybody's kidneys, especially in the African American community, a lot of people are having kidney problems. Because the science behind how EMFs, extreme magnetic frequencies, and ELFs, extreme low frequencies, all of the digitized 5G tower stuff is to attack your VGCC. Okay, no. He has pattern number W02200600606. This is the cryptocurrency of body activation. Using your body as a Wi-Fi router. Instead of routing the frequencies through cell towers, they're routing the frequencies through WBAN, wide body area networks. That be you. That is effing up your voltage gated calcium channels. that controls your ATP and your ADP. So now you stressed the back out. Not you personally, but you know. Tired. Overwhelmed. How come? High voltage. And so they have created a cistern or a system using a delta variant. This is the cosmological, theological, biological manipulation of the body. Using an ADE, an antibody-dependent enhancement, to put you in a delta brainwave state. So that way you become an MK Ultra mind control slave. They want to turn you into a biological fetus. That way it's easier to manipulate you and to program you using the delta biological programmable computer that beat you based upon Revelation chapter 6, verse 7. I wrote a book called The New Delta Force. I remember that one way back in 2020, I think. I broke down everything that's happening now. I explained in 2020. Told y'all it was coming. Based upon the constellation that allows or uses or assists, because they align or they use the stars the same way God do. So the new Diakonia Report activates the 144 powers, or gives you the ability to activate the 144 powers that allows you to now override the self-replicating nanofibers and hollow fibers that they put in the body to mess up your voltage exchange, so that way you feel you ain't got enough processing power, no mental power. Because these self-replicating nanobots that they placed inside of it's in the water, the food, so whether you took the jab or not, they don't really care. They know that the entire universe is a self-replicating universe. Everything is based upon an algorithm. That's why they gave you the PCR or the polymerase chain reaction, PCR test. Polymerase. Poly means many, mirrors means mirrors. But you got mirror neurons in your brain. So they understand self-replicating biology, mirror neurons, stem cells, environmental replication to transcend your reality. So they transcend your reality with your own mentality. What do? We transcend our fake reality with our authentic. So when you become authentic, your intention now is tied to the beginning. So before the beginning, before Genesis chapter 1:1. So you go before. So before the ultimate sin. What is the ultimate sin? The ultimate sin is choosing to disconnect from source. The ultimate sin really is doubt. The ultimate sin really is a lack of a proper self-image. The sin that cannot be forgiven is when you have forgotten that you are begotten. You better go play in traffic. It's over for you, bro. I mean, not you personally, but us people that we all know. For the new heaven and the new earth and the new Jerusalem. That we remember the series that we did? Revelation 21:3. Now that we are part of the new Jerusalem, the old heaven has passed away. Behold, all things have become new. Now we Hebrews 6:1. We understand in Revelation 21:1 and Revelation 21:5. All this is inside the new Diakonia Report. And the new Diakonia Report is based upon the proprietary information that I created a long time ago by asking source codes some specific questions. So I knew that, hold up, wait a minute, time out. I remember reading the enough body text. And I remember when I went through my Sethian stage. And I remember researching all of this, going back to my days with my buddy, Brother Sin Garcia, when I was on Freedom Slips Radio, before I got excommunicated out. But I can remember studying chess, and I saw spiritual witchcraft. And I know that the Sethian Gnostic cosmology, not taught, I was going to keep it on, has not been exposed. Not that they should. But the thing that blew me away was all of the Nahamadi texts, especially the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of the Book of Mary, and a lot of stuff that my boy Billy Carson talks about as well. But in that, and it's deep, I'm not saying that a lot of the Gnostics had it correct, but just like everything in life, you have to be able to chew up the meat and spit out the bone. And when you understand that they talk about 7, really 12 archons or rulers, depending on which version. And remember, I've talked many times about the demiurge, the demonic urge. That's ego. They over, under, and understood the demonic urge, the demiurge. They understood the 7, some say 12 rulers. They understood the Pleroma, the Peru, Sophia. They understood the unauthorized production, meaning if you decide to do something without one aspect of the self. In other words, you need both. The masculine aspect of your nature and the feminine aspect. But if it's just masculine, it's too hard. If it's feminine, it's just too soft. You need both, male and female, yin and yang, up and down, happy and sad. So I've been on the mountaintop and I've been in the valley. Now I'm able to function in either one. Everybody gets a chance to back. So your job is to understand and go on the other side of the realm of darkness into the realm of light. But being able to exist in either one. Going back to that saying, any way you bless me, Lord, I'll be satisfied. That's the new Diakonia Report. One of the keys is to understand the cognitive pattern that's based upon the harmonizing of all the 144 attributes and characteristics that's placed inside of you by God. So I'm taking the Diakonia Sequencing Report and creating this harmonic arrangement that amplifies you. So that way you live in what I call your desire fulfilled state automatically. Because awareness, my brothers and sisters, overrides discipline. Most people, like me, try to use discipline. That didn't work, then you try to use motivation. Now I use harmonic expression. What does that mean? Do you ever force yourself to watch TV? Do you have to force yourself to scroll on TikTok? How come? That's your true core nature. Your true core nature. Your true core expression. Your true core energy. You see, when you tap into your true core energy, then you don't have to force yourself to be or doing it. It's an automatic expression of the internal peace in order to override an external war. You must become an internal peace consultant. The only way to win the external war is to use internal peace. Now, again, I have to say this slowly for the people in the back because, this is high frequency waves and vibrations that we are addressing, exposing, and expanding today. In order to win the external war, you must have and use internal peace. Internal peace destroys the external war. That is just simply meaning that there is this peace that passes all understanding. There is an internal, intuitive illuminator that has this internal, intuitive visualization or intentional visualization that allows you to build. This is how you establish external peace that's based upon your internal. You got to tap into the internal peace. So that's why you use these 144 powers that you have. They're in there. They're part of your DNA. It's inside of your current Diakonia report in the form of the DNA sequencing report. But in order to sequence it, you've got to harmonize it. So in order to win the external war, you must have and use internal peace. Now, a lot of people have it, but they don't use it. So how do you use your internal peace? You must first know. By know, I mean the Bible says, be still and know. There are, especially when you get older, and especially for men, you value peace over beauty. When you're a young whippersnapper, you are, you are really moved, usually bamboozled by externals. Simply stated, external beauty overrides the desire for internal peace. The new report taps into, highlights the internal peace. Will that become an automatic expression of the soul? In other words, it's no longer something that you, think about, ponder, would like. Now it's way more important than external beauty. So the internal peace overrides the desire for external beauty. It's not that you don't like it. It's just that you understand it, that your internal peace, the most important thing is your internal peace. Because your external world aligns with the core. That's internal peace. So internal peace is your true core, pattern. It's a way by which your soul has been designed by Source to express, expose, and expand its pure self. So you don't need no motivation. You don't need no discipline. You don't need no Wim Hof breathing techniques. You don't need any of the stuff that's being promoted by the dominant or the non-dominant culture any longer. Why? You have an automatic expression of the soul. So you don't even need artificial intelligence other than to assist you with structure. So that amplifies you. It triggers you. Then activates you. So the amplification, the triggerification, and the activation happens automatically based upon the new awareness of the cognitive pattern. This awareness of this cognitive pattern is done by simply reading the pages of the new Diakonia Report. Now, the old Diakonia Report works just as well by simply chopping into the Diakonia Report sequencing. Look at the numbers in your life optimization circle, selecting the 12 numbers that describe a single number. For example, in my life path number, it is the number 336. So those numbers, the number 3 has 12 words that describe it. The second number 3 have 12 additional words that describe it. And the number 6 have 12 words that describe the meaning of the number 6. So I go around my entire life optimization circle, and each one of the 12 numbers in my life optimization circle has 12 other words that describe that word. And through taking those 12 words and using my, I'm going to use the word harmonization technique that I've developed, it allows me to harmonize the meanings of all 144 words. And that becomes the internal core. In other words, that is the unconscious code that I had prior to my incarnation. This is what the Bible says when it says that I knew you in your mother's womb. I predestined you. So that is the neuron to neuron communication that's inside of the mitochondria DNA. This is what the Bible talks about when it says that the cerebellum, the right brain, there was an angel that had a flaming sword that wouldn't allow Adam and Eve to go into the Garden of Eden. It blocked their entrance so that they could not enter back in. That flaming sword represents the neuron-to-neuron communication. This is the biology of verbs that are on and control your nerves. This is how the verbs control your nerves. This is the mitochondria. This is science. It's biology. Now, some call it the circadian rhythm. Most of us are not aware that we even have a circadian rhythm. It's the ANS system, or part of the ANS system, the automatic nervous system. That's your true core essence. That's your true core value. That's the premium expression. It's there. It's just being overwritten by distractions. So your job is to establish a new spirit, or what we call disposition. Some call it state of mind, by simply tuning out the distractions and tuning into the thoughts that are coming into the brain. And you're going to notice you're becoming more self-insured, which is another word for saying self-assured. Another way of saying self-worth, self-knowledge, self-acceptance, self-love, self-consciousness, self-awareness, self-esteem, self-compassion are all being amplified. And why are they being amplified? All because of the internal peace. That is the result of taking the new components that I've added to your Diakonia Report. All the other information is still there. Just cut out some of the fluff. But the primary core is the illumination of the illuminator's number that's inside of you that's called quantum biology. It allows you to really be self-insured. It's like taking out an insurance policy on yourself because it activates the molecular biology that is inside of the cell, especially the cellular power plant that controls the lymphatic system, which is called the mitochondria, because it reinforces your VGCC, the voltage gate that the dominant culture is attacking by manipulating your calcium channels. Because the body needs sodium and potassium to increase or maintain your ATP and your ADP, which is your inner chi, your energy level. This removes the demonic inhibitor that doesn't allow your new energy signature, which is the 144-word genetic signature or energy signature code, to increase your gamma or your gamma light codes which is nothing but how your body has been designed by God to function. This, my brothers and sisters, is called morphology, plus patterns of power. And this morphology, again, that's based upon what we call ontology, uses phonics. Remember those 7 attributes or the rules of language? And remember we did a show way back in the day when we was talking about, universal causality? What is the cause of all of this stuff? What is the foundation on this planet? Now when you get to higher levels, okay, you're no longer hooked on phonics. Your voice and your vocabulary or your vocare or your phonics, your word that creates your phonology and your distribution based upon your description. But right now, you are governed, your thoughts are governed by how you establish a specific system of thought, how you structure your words. You have to change the way by which your words are structured. So you are structuring your words internally in a way that removes work, what we call effort, and exertion, vigorous action that is forced. That's called struggle. So most people take vigorous action to avoid. Very few take vigorous action to gain. So your job is to understand by examining the belief loop, because beliefs do not require facts to be true. Beliefs are based upon repetition. The brain will do anything possible to maintain its safety, survival. The brain is not interested in thrival. So it's going to look for a path of least resistance. Whether that path is a prosperous one or not, the brain is going to look for it. And it's going to collapse it. So you got to be aware of it, that your brain, technically, because it's based upon the reptile and the reticular activating system, it's not going to give you the first option, may not be the most prosperous one. It's going to be the one that is the path of least resistance. So your job is to Tap into your true core code. What is my true core code? What is the illumination that was given to me by the illuminator in order for me to override the manipulator? Because remember, like you, I received a code, but the code manipulates me, and on the surface, it makes me look like I want, but underneath it, because it's not authentic, it's not an automatic expression of the soul, it suppresses my true algorithm. So now I have a manufactured content. It's fake. Fake people, fake comments, fake news. Because if you show up to the marketplace fake, you're going to attract fake. Because it's not authentic. So your job is to do what? Tap into your true authentic code. How do you know what's authentic? What's automatic? Your heartbeat is authentic. Why? You are not doing anything to maintain your heart. It's beating automatically on its own. So I'm automatically attracting things into my life. So my current habit pattern is automatically attracting things into my life. What is it? I just look at, okay, what do I have in my life? Look at my house, my car, my current health state, wife, the kids. That's the automatic expression of self. Okay, are you happy with your surroundings? Are you happy with where you are, who you are, what you are being, what you have attracted? Okay, then you're good. You don't have to take any more classes. You can start teaching these classes now. But we live in the age of conformity. So it requires courage. We're living in the age of conformity because of the absence of courage. Courage destroys conformity. The Bible says, be strong and courageous in Joshua chapter 1, verse 9. See, your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. It is the absence of courage in the age of conformity that is limiting your ability. Be strong and of good courage. That's what the scripture tells us to be. Because 99 people are going to come up and say, hey man, you should get that. Let's go back to recent history. You better get that jab, homie. If you don't get that jab, bad things going to happen. Because everybody's getting, what are you going to do? Are you just going to fall in line with everybody else? Are you going to have some courage and cure the rage with your courage? So you can always tell the true, authentic code. Not in the Diakonia Report, obviously. I break down the number using the Illuminator's illumination code that's inside of the new Diakonia Report. And we'll be breaking it down as well inside of the new series that we'll be starting later on tonight. Brothers and sisters, that's my info, not only for the new Diakonia Report, but also for the new series. Starts later on tonight. You already know what to do. Payment plans available. Email, text me, or just make the payment at masterteacher30.com for the new Diakonia Report, 99, and or the new class that starts tonight. That's at $4.99. Man, I love you, appreciate you. We'll see you later on tonight. God bless.